So I'll start off with this, all right, about Jaylon Moore. I kind of watched him, over, 2023, some of the games. Actually, this is the 2023 games that he was in to 2024, kind of where he graded out the teams that he played, what he looked like, and what he's going to bring here. So I'll tell you a few things that, to me, that I was impressed by. I do believe he has some tenacity about him. I think he has some pretty decent hands. I think he's learned a lot from Trent Williams being in front of him. Comes off the football. He's not a bad left tackle. At times he does tend to open the door a little bit on his set, especially on pass rushers, which is, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's typical, but that is something that guys have to work on, of just being stout. So he does a good job being stout. He got a great punch. He's getting his hands out there. He doesn't let people get into his body too much, which is good, because then he can kind of control guys in the arms and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. So he does have it about him. He'll bend his knees. He'll bend his hips. For a guy, his height, I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". He does a pretty decent job. So some of my concerns, what I did see, like I said, for one, to kind of open up the door, somewhat of it. Two, and I think this is going to help out, is him being able to start and play all year. Okay. He's got to go a full season, and he hasn't done anything like that. And the last 2 years kind of shows. It's a couple of games I watched him there. I watched the first half of him, then I watched the second half, and I wanted to see what his endurance looked like. And that's something he's going to have to work on. He's going to have to work on his endurance. There was a few things, and I think part of that was him being tired, is making some calls, making sure everybody, like, he knows where he's going up to, communicating with his guard. And so he's going to be there with the young one in King Suma, and they got to be on the same page. That's one thing, that had to necessarily be on the same page. But that's the thing about it, and that's going to turn into consistency. We need consistency out of him. If he's able to do that, be consistent, continue to have determination to get the job done, and I think Andy works on his, some of the things, like I said, getting to the outside and keeping his hands, engaged with guys, making sure the speed rusher don't go and push him back. Gets a little high sometimes. The guys do push him. He'll be fine. I think it's a solid left tackle, though, for us. And we'll see. Like I said, this is going to be his first time starting a full season against some of these guys. And that's one thing we got to keep our eyes on. So we'll look and see what we got here with him. Okay. So number 76. So as you see here, like, and I don't know if it was just maybe some of the communication, but he does a lot of this coming from 2-point stance. He does 2-point stance on blocking too. I rarely seen him go to the 3 as much. And sometimes you can do this to try to throw out the defense, because you make them think it's a pass rush, or they're pass rushing, and you just come off the daggone football. He steps with a lot of power. Does a good job. Sometimes when he steps to try to capture the outside, when he like outside zone, he needs to open up a little bit more and get his head on the side that he's trying to block to. And so sometimes he's gotten caught that way. This is another thing too. Go back to that. Little things I look at is, when the ball's in the air, you're hustling down the field. Clean up somebody who's trying to tackle your guy. And that's probably him trying to conserve his energy, doing some of this. But I really didn't see a lot of, and that's when I just went, when you're talking about tackles, making sure you might be helping down the field just in case. Just little things. Certain guys have things like that to them, so other guys not necessarily. So here we go. Outside zone. So on this one, I wondered, as far as if you see it, capture, that's a pretty good block right there. Stepping out, turns him, got his arm, works to get to the outside. It's a good job on the block. Now, when a guy's like this, kind of closer to him, which you would almost call this almost like a 7. He's able to get out there to him. Wide 9 is a little harder. It's harder for any tackle to try to get off there wide to reach him. Somebody's got to flip his hip, just take him out there. That's a good job right there driving. Got to keep going on the drive. Sometimes he kind of gave up, like I've seen a few plays. He might let a guy fall off and make a tackle toward the end. This is good right here, man. Just, same thing, getting your head, getting right there engaged in it. Captures it, does a good job. Once he gets his hands on you, he'll fight. That's what I love about it. He wants to get his hands on, he will fight you. He's a physical guy. That's one thing I love about this too in the run game. He will get physical. So I do like that a lot. So does it mean as the play look like he's the last one to react? I don't know. It's hard to tell. But it might just the defender getting his hands off. It's a tough block, but he's coming down. It's a good step with power. Boom. There you go. It's good. Here's the one I'm talking about right here, just capturing on the outside. Like he tried to reach this, but he kind of just gave up. Until we get enough. There it is. So you got to work to the outside even more. Same thing here. If the defender's not coming, there's no reason to give up any type of ground right here. He should stall him right here. He's allowed to, you just kind of walk him back. Okay. Same thing we're talking about, trying to capture that edge, outside zone. So yeah, there was a couple of things like I guess in the blocking scheme. I don't know if the communication was just off. It just didn't look like they didn't communicate enough. So watch how he kind of opens up the door right here. Good kick step, getting back good. But that right there, that little bit that he's pushing and open up the door is what you want to try to eliminate as much as possible. He's just kind of trying to keep his shoulders kind of square to the line of scrimmage, at least in a 45. At least in a 45. Another thing I'm watching, like on his grass, how far is the guy pushing him back? Is he giving up anything as far as ground-wise toward the quarterback? Does the quarterback stay where he's supposed to in his when he's setting up. He does a pretty good job. But those like pushing him back, getting off at the end, he does a good job as far as getting at his. But see, like hands are late on that one. Hands are late. It's another thing too. Sometimes as a tackle, he'll have his arms down on his thighs, especially in the pass protection. That slows you down. Just that half of a second, half tick, could be where you lose in pass protection. You got your hands ready as a boxer. You want them up a little bit higher. So if he has his hands on his thighs, it helps out tremendously as far as with his punch, as opposed to having it down on his thighs. Go ahead. Let me see. It's a play like this. Another thing he does is these little things that you could just. He shouldn't turn that way. When you go into the other side, this is almost like a scoop block or backside zone. If anything, if you can't give enough of like they say, a chicken wing or something like that, you give them like a hand. If not, just punch and then go. That way you're able to keep your eyes on the guys that you're going up to. There's a couple of times you don't really keep his shoulder squared to the line of scrimmage. But those are things you can work on. That's coaching. That's coaching. So it's not bad. He just turns his head. He's got to just stay on top of it.
Would you say San Francisco does a better job of setting up their plays than we do? I mean, because they're kind of. I mean, they run the ball a lot more than we do, and that's no surprise there. And obviously, Chiefs know that before signing this guy. But I feel like there's a little more balance and more variety within the San Francisco offense versus what we do. I mean, how hard is that to kind of, as a tackle? I mean, if you're used to more of a balance to play style, and then you come here and you're throwing the ball 50 times a game. I mean, are you worried about that aspect with him?
Well, for us when we throwing the ball, it's going to be off his conditioning. Conditioning is going to be a little bit different. And so if you're kick stepping the majority of your time, you get used to kind of playing on your heels. Those are we talking about, like getting your punch and being stout. But as far as you could call things differently. It's still going to be the same. Zone to zone, man blocking scheme is still going to be the same. You still have same rules on a lot of your stuff that you do, regardless if they set it up or not. Like a tackle, guard, center, whoever it is that's blocking tight end, as far as what linebacker you're working toward. Okay, you should know any count in the box, who you're blocking, and that's going to determine your technique and what technique you need to utilize to win. So that's really in your head. It's all technique driven, pretty much. I mean, once you know that once you read the defense, make the calls that you need to make, everything now is how technically sound are you? It really is. That's what it boils down to. So you don't really change up, what you do, technique. And like everything, that's why we constantly go over footwork, hand and hat placement all the time. Foot, hand, and hat placement every single day, 100 times a day, because that's what you need. You need consistency to win. Your technique, the guys are so good, technique's going to win over certain things. And if you are athletic, then it helps you out even more. So for him, he does a good job, technique wise. I've seen games. And mind you, Marcus, we got to realize this is a small sample size of this guy playing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like he hasn't played a whole ton of football. If I'm sitting over here and I'm looking, so here we are in when he played 2023. At times he had only 3 games that he really played in: Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville. Okay. 2024 is where he had probably most of his work, and that was Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago, LA, and Miami. Miami, he didn't grade out that well. The 2 he played graded out good against was Buffalo and Chicago. Buffalo has a great defense. He graded out 76. Green Bay, he graded out pretty decent, 81. And then you look at the other games, where he only had 12 snaps, he had 45. Run block was 46. Miami game, he only 53, 57. So for me, it's all about consistency with this guy. When Jaylon, it is going to be consistency. It's things that they can work on. He has a lot of upside. He does, because he shows flashes of a good player, like a solid tackle. Definitely, better than the young guys that we've had in there. My thing is, because it is a small sample size, we got to know what we're going to get long term. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, still something that stands out to me is like what I think about, and I think Optimistic James kind of goes over it a little bit, is like this, for example, this play. It's like Pat 1, 2, 3. Pat's getting that thing out a lot longer than that, or he's even going. His drop's going to be even further back than that, and I feel like Pat's drops further than that. Verse is going to go get him, and I feel like that's the problem we've been kind of having with our left tackles.
That right there, what you're seeing, that's only about five yards back, 4.5, and he's engaging him. This is what I'm saying. He can't open the door. That once he opens the door, his punch has got to be violent. It has to be. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously Purdy and Mahomes are very different types of quarterbacks. So it's like, Pat's dropping back, and that's what makes Pat special, right? Being able to extend plays, being able to drop back, 10 yards, and then also do some magic, but also, too, that also brings up a problem for left tackles trying to meet that guy at a certain point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got some more good look?
Yeah, I think there's a few more clips here.
Okay, let's check it. See, tackles like that position right there. That's perfect. That is perfect. But here they had. Go ahead. Juszczyk's probably going to be there for a chip, but his set on this one is perfect. This would be perfect for Pat. He's able to get back there. At this point, he wasn't going to be able to push it. But this right here is the one that some of our tackles get in a problem with. And so, good feet. And at this point, when you engage, you just got to press and punch. And so when the same thing, the defensive tackle gets his hands on him before he punches, that's where he could get lifted up off his feet. That can happen to any tackle. See that? I mean, that's what a defender wants to be able to do. The thing is, if your punch is violent and it's powerful, then you'll stop that charge, and then you just gotta reassess. You got to anchor back down, and that's the thing about it. You got to sit. He's got a good enough feet. He's got enough power that he can anchor and do all those things. It's a good job here. Same thing, turning his shoulders. He wants to engage too much on that as opposed to keeping his shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage. Okay.
So all in all, do you think this is after kind of doing a little more research on Jaylon Moore and whatnot? Are you satisfied with the addition even more so than you were last week?
Yeah, I am. Because I think the thing is that he is, we might not be as strong in. We could definitely work on to be better. Like I say, staying square to the line of scrimmage. Another one is he has to work on his durability. He's got to work on obviously his endurance. Those things are going to be key. It's going to be key for us. He keeps his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. I think he does a great job of kicking out. It doesn't look like he clicks his heel. There was one game that he kind of clicked his heels, but I was like, he's a little tired. And you could tell. You could tell in his pass sets he was a little tired. So he said after this Philly game, he decided no, he's a solid guy. I think he's going to be all right. Like I said, the little things that I'm looking at, I'm concerned with, he is something he could definitely work on. Better than Humphreys getting put on his butt. Well, I think Joe did a great job. The thing is, if he doesn't get his technique right, Jaylon will beat on the same way. He'll be the same way. Where Joe doesn't have as long as arm as Jaylon, this is where it could be Jaylon's advantage. Jaylon he's got to get his punch on the guys immediately because he's got to hold it for at least 5 seconds. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005. If you're going to get Pat time, you got to give him that. You got to give him that. And so once he works on his endurance, he gets his endurance down, I think for how we do the longevity in a play that it could be for us, it's going to be his challenge. It's going to be his challenge. Shoulder square to the line of scrimmage, another thing you got to work on, right? That's easy. That's easy. So, hey, look, don't give too much. More of a shoulder. Punch that shoulder, climb up to the backer, and make sure everybody's giving a count. And I think when I started looking at some of his film, I was going, let me see what the second half, how he's thinking when he is tired. That's what I wanted to see. So I didn't see anything that stops Hendrickson from bothering him. Hendrickson's going to give anybody the business. That's the thing about it. He's a good-sized guy. He's athletic enough to play this position for us. He looks pretty stout. He's got good hips. Like I said, man, I think it's going to be his biggest challenge is the endurance. As the game wears on, where's his technique going to be then? That's what it is. Eddie Reed's training camp will get him into shape. He's going to have to. He's going to get some extra reps. He's going to have to do that. That's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. And he needs to know right now in his head what Purdy and those guys are doing. The ball is coming out faster than what we do, than what Pat gives. James Lamp said, JD, I can't find a KC football card of you. Why? Did you play for the Eagles? I did play for the Eagles. You'll see tons of cards from my Eagles days. I think I only had one card with Kansas City, and it was like 3 people on the same card with me.
Oh yeah, I think I have that card actually. Yeah, it was a 3-person one.
Yeah, it was me, Sammy, SP, Sammy Parker, and I don't know who else was the third guy.
Gosh, yeah, I forget. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I definitely have that in my room somewhere.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they were doing what they with cards and stuff like that. I have no idea. But.
All right. So now I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys are more excited about this signing than Kareem is in the chat.
So I'll finish up with this, Marcus. I'll say this. Okay. Keep working on consistency, endurance, technique. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Andy Heck and those guys, they'll coach up the offensive line. This is going to look different for sure because you're going to have King Suma and him on that side. Excuse me. And the thing is, those 2 guys got to get it together. They're going to have to get it together. I think they'll do a good job. I think they will. So we'll just have to see. But this is new for him. He's never started a full season. It's different. It's different. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. I mean, obviously they saw something in him to give him the 2-year deal. And we saw Cam Robinson today got a 1-year deal with the Texans, 1 year up to $14.5 million. And doing more research on, I was really happy we ended up with Jaylon Moore in the end. Yeah. And after this film review too, so we were more excited.
Yeah, man. So be a little excited about Jaylon Moore. I think he'll do a good job for us. I do. I think he'll do a good job for us. Once he gets here, he's going to know what demands are going to be on him. He had, like I said, some decent games against Green Bay, Buffalo, which is always a hard go at it. Chicago's got some pass rushers. They got some guys to press up there. Did a pretty decent job against those guys. So, yeah, we'll be all right. LA did a good job against those guys, too. We've seen a little bit. That's somewhat of a tougher outing for it. Miami was the one that he had a little chance, little challenge.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.